Welcome, great Biafrans. I salute you all this hour. Today's exposition is going to be on the evil atrocities committed by uh, the representatives or political office holders in Nigeria. They have so bastardized their office, they have so desecrated their office, they have so abused and misused their office such that people are suffering in the country and they do not care. People are passing through a lot in the country and they do not care. Now, I'm going to play a recording of Oshiomhole when he was interrogating the trade minister. And from there, I will point out certain points, certain, salient points that you need to know and you need to understand what is happening in your country. And this is why when some people are clamoring, when people like Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, and every Biafran is clamoring for a new nation, is clamoring for Biafra, you do not understand what they have seen. You do not understand their pains. You do not understand what they have passed through. Just listen to Oshiomhole.
Give the documents from you under Nigeria Trade Office Ghana. Purchase of 2 units of project vehicles, SUV, 160 million naira. Is this a Nigerian-made vehicle? 160 million naira. Which kind of truck is this?
I mean, so it's for Ghana.
No, don't make your notes.
Okay.
So we avoid the crossfire. I just wanted to just show that there's a huge gap between what we preach and what we do in your ministry.
The first point here, there's a huge gap between what we preach and what we do in your ministry. He's directing this to the trade minister. Now, he asked the question, the vehicles you are buying for 160 million, are they Nigerian-made vehicles? We have Innocent, who is a Nigerian who produces Nigerian-made vehicles. Now, do you patronize him? No. This is where the government is supposed to patronize her own and ensure that everything it buys from the country to improve the trade, improve the quality of everything in the country. When you buy from your own, you improve the person wants to improve his capacity, improve the quality of services rendered, but you do not support that person. You do not support that person as a government, yet you claim you want development, you want internally generated revenue, IGR, to increase. Whereas you do not, as a government, support people who produce things internally in your own country. How do you want them to grow? How do you want the IGR to grow? They continue to go outside to source for these things. Whereas you have capable manufacturers in the country. Because he is a Biafran, because this person is an Igbo man, they do not want to support him. You see the evil and the atrocity going on in this country. Let us continue. Oshiomhole is going to point out salient points, so many points. You are going to listen to him.
Understand our extent of dependence. What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and China? What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and countries under the European Union? What is the balance of trade between Nigeria and the United Kingdom? Most of our major trading partners. And when I talk of balance of trade, delete oil. No, that one is an international product. So that we can appreciate how much we have gained in terms of giving all the money we spent over the years on export promotion and all the institutions we've set up, whether they are banks, they are commission, whatever they are, so that it will give us a window whether we are not just throwing money away. We probably have far more institutions, whether financial institutions or other commissions, with the one primary objective to promote export. So by the time you give us this figure, it will give us an idea. Number two, no be found in your office and be found elsewhere.
Now, what he pointed out is what is the trade, the balance of trade between Nigeria and China and all other European countries. Now, when he said remove oil, he wants to know what other thing, as apart from oil, what other thing does Nigeria export? Because we want to see a balance of trade. Balance of trade in this sense is your importation and exportation. What is the balance? Are you just an importing country? Are you just a consuming country? Or you are producing something? Now, if you discover even toothpick is imported into this country, so what exactly are we exporting? What exactly are we manufacturing that we can export to other countries of the world? Nothing. Anybody who wants to develop, who wants to stand, who wants to do something, the government cannot support him or her. The government will rather strangulate you, put strict laws, measures that will make you even go out of business. These are the irregularities of this government. These are the irregularities of the country you call one Nigeria. They continue to strangulate you. They continue to impose laws that would ensure that you crumble. Look at the incidents in Lagos. Businesses of Igbo people, billions, millions of naira. What do? You destroy them. Instead of encouraging these people, ensuring that what they produce is, of standard. If they are producing below standard, you improve them. You provide machineries. You push them into mechanized, way of producing these things and make them produce quality stuff. But all you do is destroy, destroy, destroy. Oil bunkering, and all the oil refinery, all the what do they call it? Oil refineries in the creek. Local oil refineries in the creek. What stops you from providing all these modular refineries, make them functional and help these people? What stops you from improving these people, try to legalize what they are doing and ensure that they produce oil for consumption of Nigerians? You do not do those things. You clamp them down. You destroy these things. And you want to grow. Tomorrow you say you want to grow. You have oil, but you are still buying crude oil from outside. You are still buying petrol from outside. Whereas you have the raw materials. What stops you from producing crude oil, quota, all these things that are petrol, quota, gasoline, all these things that are gotten from crude oil? You depend solely on outsiders. If you do not produce anything, you cannot produce. And people who are trying, the Biafrans, the Igbos, those from the southeast and south house, who are trying to ensure that they produce something, you use laws to strangulate them and push them out of business. Evil nation. Evil nation. Let us continue to listen to Oshiomhole.
He claimed to know where you were. I don't know whether he's tracking you. But there is one major thing that I've seen in all the committees that I've attended, and this is something the Senate has to look at. Every time Nigeria has to travel, including your ministry, I use the word, and excuse me, but we need to be brutally frank, but not brutal to people, but in terms of calling a spade a spade. We always have the largest delegation of Nigerians to trade missions. Now I see in your proposal, you have trade mission in Geneva, and you are going to spend almost over 1.7 billion naira to maintain your Geneva office, which means ideally you have trade experts in that office. And when I used to go to Geneva, where Nigerian ministers come with 30-man delegation, America will use their trade officers in Geneva to attend those meetings. They are just pure technical people. In Nigeria, the minister will lead the delegation, and by the time you multiply now, I don't know what the ETA code is now, times 1,000, whatever it is, you'll find that ministers in trying to help put their people on trips. They don't attend the meetings, and they spend most of that time shopping at the expense of taxpayers. That explains substantially why you will find huge overhead. I'm just asking myself, you are going to spend in your ministry 900 and that is headquarters alone, 905 million naira. And sometimes when you put for 202 kobo, I really don't know how these numbers are generated because nobody sees kobo anymore. It doesn't exist. And every budget you put it there as if it was meant to be a joke. Budget is meant to be an honest statement, not a formality. So
now this thing he just explained is another problem, another big problem that is eating up the finances of this country. How can you be financing, travels of people, your family members, with taxpayers' money? Some people living in Nigeria do not even understand what is happening. They don't even know their rights. They don't even know what is going on. You are working as a civil servant or a public servant in Nigeria. You don't know that as your salary is coming in, there are some deductions that are made in your salary. What are those deductions? Tax. Some percentage are removed from your salary, which is called tax. And these tax are supposed to be be used for your own betterment, to repair the roads, to give you good water, to give you electricity, to ensure that you have security. Do you have all these things? The answer is no. Yet you pay tax every month. At the end of the month, they deduct tax from your money, and they do not use this tax. They use it to service their own personal use. And we keep quiet and continue to allow these people to embarrass us, to disgrace us internationally, to continue to subjugate us to the level that is unbearable to common humans. We continue to sit and listen to these people and watch these people, misuse and just squander our money just like that. And we keep mute. And that is why you find these people in the House of Representatives, senators, every year they are changing, they are buying new bulletproof vehicles. The one they bought last year, what happened to it? They will still buy another one this year. And next year they will buy another one with your taxpayers' money. And minimum wage is 30,000 naira. And people are spending millions, hundreds of millions on vehicles every year. But they will find it very difficult to upgrade minimum wage. They find it very difficult to increase salary. They find it very difficult to help you, the poor masses, to help you, the people who are working for the country. And people continue to tell you that their plan is to make you remain poor such that you are, indebted, or you are kind of financially down, such that whenever they come to you, you respect them because you feel they have everything that you need. And so they put you in poverty way such that if they call on you, take this little change and do this thing for me, you will run and do it because you do not have that money. Evil people that call themselves politicians. And the earlier you open your eyes and realize that these people are killing you indirectly, the better for all of us. We need to stand up and fight these people, not even with bare hands, fight with arms. It is time you arm yourself and defend yourself. It is time these politicians do not sit on their asses. It is time they face the consequences of their actions.
you spend so much money on overhead. Number two, you are arguing the case for waivers. For me, the most corrupt tools of government is to make law for everyone, and then for those you favor, you now grant them waiver to breach that law. Government must be seen to be fair to all. If we are going to have fair competition, and we have opted for free market, why should we even have thing called waiver? I think my plea to Mr. Chairman, sir, is that going forward, the National Assembly has the right to legislate, to curtail the power of those who exercise this discretion, because they are abused. Honorable.
Now, another point he laid bare here is the point of waiver. I continue to tell people that the country is skewed in a way that these politicians control you at will, but you will not listen. They control you, they manipulate you. Imagine what he has just said about waiver is real, very much real. How can you place an embargo? How can you stop the importation of certain things, but then you create waivers? And those waivers are given to certain persons and allow them to do whatever they want to do. Take, for instance, you create waivers, you block the importation of rice, and you give waivers to Dangote to import same rice that you have stopped the importation. And as such, you see them, it is an indirect way of monopoly of a certain business. You say you have placed an embargo on importation of rice, and you give Dangote waiver. Dangote, you have this waiver to import rice. And Dangote alone imports the same rice you have stopped every other person from importing. Is that not evil? Is that not a way creating a monopoly in that sector of business? This is what you all must open your eyes to and see, and stop creating nuisance.
Be clear, this is not about you, but there has to be a day to wake up. You know, somebody asked about Volkswagen, about Peugeot Automobile, about Leyland, about there was one in Bauchi where they produce tractors. Steer. It is our trade policies. This submission, recklessly in my view, to so-called WTO rules and so on, and then we expose ourselves to all kinds of goods and services coming in. Let me just ask you one question. When you go to a restaurant, and as the Minister of Trade, you pick a toothpick and it's made in China, that toothpick is illegally imported and drawing the forex from our increasingly impoverished central bank? Or how does it come in? Under our laws, should toothpick no made in Nigeria be found in the Nigerian market? I pay for this ridiculous one because each time I go out and I see toothpick, they have this small packaging, nice packaging, but it's imported. And then we talk about promoting trade. How? So there's something you need to speak to. And okay, time is always a problem here. Provided that next time, sir, we will not be rushed to approve money because we are in a hurry. Because those who pay taxes don't earn the money in a hurry. They sweat. We must be sure, not assuming, sir. No, excuse me. Custom officer implements trade policies. They do not formulate the tariff policies. They collect what has been imposed on them. Yeah, but you shouldn't be tired so much that not to know the difference. It's my father. It's my father. He knows we are good friends. So I just want to say, Madam, looking at this, we spend a lot of money on the Ministry of Trade. But maybe by the time I see the balance of trade between us and our major trading partners, I will be able to see. And I would think in future, we ought to be able to say, over the past 5 years, this is the growth we have recorded, or this is how we have stagnated, so that we have overall view and as I said the question. Should we spend money in a ministry that is not promoting local production? I want us to set up a target, sir, where we should say, for example, all the cars in Nigeria, all those tires they were using in the past, not during Uncle Park era, just in the 80s, they were in Nigeria. In the early 90s, you have Michelin, you have Dunlop, you have several of them that were producing tires in Nigeria using rubber that is made or planted in my part of the country. And this, all of these are gone now. Any car you see on the road, the tire is imported. What are your plans to make a review? The reason I ask you, I didn't come to the Senate to lament. And Mr. President said during our campaign, and I believe he meant it, it is can-do spirit. So we are not going to continue, as this budget suggests, with old traditions, right? So you need to tell us, what are we going to do differently to get all the tires we are using in Nigeria made in Nigeria? The policy that brought them before was by government that says the military, unfortunately. I mean,
Now, what he said here is completely truth. What he said here is completely true. But the issue is, are they going to follow this? Are they prepared for a change? Are they prepared to have a paradigm shift in their mentality? They are not. These people have eaten deep into the resources of this nation that they don't want to even talk about doing the right thing. All they want is to see a way to siphon money from this country. Go to places like Onitsha, go to places like Aba, where you see companies producing things, manufacturing things. Most of them have closed down. Most of these companies have closed down and stopped production. What happened? What happened? We are now a consuming nation and an importing nation. You cannot even boast of producing anything. The little people are trying to revive, people are trying to produce. Instead of you to patronize them and give them that enabling environment for them to thrive, you try to rubbish them. You try to rubbish them. Look at what they did to Ibeto. They kicked Ibeto out. And the only two companies, major companies producing cement now, are from the north, Boa and Dangote. Boa and Dangote are northerners. To any southerner, any southeasterner, any person from the old eastern region, southeast, you are on your own. They will continue to make laws that will deprive you from progress. They will continue to make laws that would, okay, look at Lagos. A new seaport, dry seaport, and whatever they call it, they want to build another one in Lagos. Lagos that is congested because of the seaport, the only functional seaport, only viable seaport in the country in Lagos. And you still want to build another seaport there to further congest Lagos and make it unlivable. What stops you from going to the east and developing those seaports in the east and making them as viable as that of Lagos? By so doing, relieving Lagos of that stress, relieving Lagos of that crowd. You want to strangulate the people of the old eastern region known as Biafra. You do policies, you create policies, you create laws that would, further, push the people out of their region. Whatever they do, they have to come over to southwest or north to do it. They want to get visa, they'll go to Lagos or go to Abuja. They want to fly out of the country, they go to Lagos or go to Abuja. They want to import things, they have to go through Lagos. Whatever they want to do, southwest and north. Nothing, no international presence in the southeast, nothing moving in the southeast. You place laws that will make it very difficult for people to actually make these things functional in their region. People do not understand that seaport is under the exclusive list. International airport is under the exclusive list, that only the president can give you direction or permission to go ahead with those things. This is what we are suffering. And people continue to remain mute. And when they are telling you that your country, and there's something I need to tell you today. Any of your friend who has joined politics, if the person is fully in support of uh, uh, fully, pressing against the marginalization, against all the evil done by these politicians, once the person begins to move with politicians and begins to enjoy their funds, that person changes automatically. Don't take the person's words for it. I don't know if they are indoctrinated into one, group or the other. I do not understand. But immediately you have a friend that joins someone who is in politics or joins politics, the mentality changes. They begin to talk left. You tell them this is what we used to stand for. This is the right thing. This is the right thing. They tell you no. There's there's a way. They start the right thing. They tell you no. There's a way. They start deviating. So it is time you need to stand on your right and fight for your freedom. And that is why I will always tell you, anybody who is telling you that you need the governors, you need politicians for you to, the person is just being naive and stupid. You do not need these governors because they will never support you, support your freedom. Do you want to take away the cake they have in their mouths? They can never support you because they are eating your money. So how do you expect them to support you? So if you believe a politician can support you gain your freedom, then you are a joker. You are a complete joker. You must understand these things. You must understand these things. And I believe some people have, received some level of, understanding. If you came with your open mind to this program, I believe you must have learned a thing or two. You must have learned a thing or two. Your minds must have been open to the realities of this country. Adams Oshiomhole exposed these things, but put it in a way that you will feel he was just discussing. But then he was making points. He was pointing out facts. He was pointing out the problems of this country. But none of us want to, think deep and assess things and say the truth the way they are. Thank you, Biafrans, for listening. Continue to support your freedom because it is the only thing that can save you now. These politicians cannot and never save you. And they have gone so deep in this that it is only going to get worse. Because any president that comes in, it looks as though the previous president is even preferable. So stand up for your rights. Thank you for listening.